We are live.
Good evening.
Good evening from the 615. It's been 2 years since we've done
Been that long.
a Greasy time through the YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We got what is it? Kampai bringing us into the show from the Buena Vista Social Club right there.
Excellent.
Smoking a lovely Cuabo right there. That's a man after my own heart.
Good. Good hat.
Welcome to good hat too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I hope everybody is well out there. Yeah, we haven't done this in a very long time. I'm gonna quickly make sure that everything is working. I'm not going to be able to be monitoring the chats because we're streaming both to YouTube and the Facebook page.
Okay.
So, yep, okay, that is all working. All right, great. So anyway, I apologize about that. I'm just not going to be able to monitor the chats and run the spaceship here as we do this. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend and yours, Mr. Adam Abrashoff. He's in amazing shape tonight.
Oh yeah, rare form today.
Oh gosh, he may have tied one on last night.
Yeah, the old body doesn't recover like it did 20 years ago, man. I tell you what, yeah.
Oh Lord. Well, salud. I raise my Topo Chico to you.
Where's my nighttime coffee to you?
Your nighttime coffee. Here's to you, bud. I love you. So we're going to play some tunes. We're going to talk about some music. We're going to talk about some equipment. I've had a really great... man, this year's just been wonderful. Been playing on lots of records, and all the gigs that we've done, whether in duo capacity or as a trio, have been really super enjoyable and easy.
It's been a fun year.
And we'll talk more about that. We got some stuff coming up this month, and I can talk about some of the stuff I'm involved in. I can't talk about all of it, but what?
It's a secret.
Some of it. Well, it's just
until things are done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, this past week in particular has been really fun. I've been working on Paul McCartney's son James's new album, which has been a blast. Our old friend David Kahn, who we have a long history with, going back like 10 years, but David has been really great. He's had me play on lots of records over the last 10 years. Anyway, he's producing James's new record and been really enjoying playing on it this past week. It's been really fun, and finishing up Kirk Fletcher's new record, which is fantastic. Our dear buddy Kirk made a really great, like, old school, like 50s blues record. I mean, it sounds like an old record that you like never found, like that came out in 1960 on King Federal or something, and you just never found it. It really turned out great. I was over working with him yesterday.
What I've heard sounds great, man. It does.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, in any rate, let's play some music. We'll start out with a tune that people message me a lot on the socials about. It's a tune that was a Fred McDowell tune, or is a Fred McDowell tune. At least the lyrics are. And Adam, in true normal fashion, you know, he's in love with the Tony Allen, the Afrobeat, and so he played a groove, and it was real simple. That's how it came to be. So this is a tune called "Mortgage on My Soul," which people message me about it almost every day. So anyway, we'll do this, and then we'll get into some other stuff. But again, welcome to the show. And as it says on the screen, this is our gift to you. But if you care to drop some coinage in the tip jar there, we would be very appreciative. Pay for our dinner tonight.
There you go.
Pay for some coffee.
Yep.
Some other things we can't talk about. But anyway, the information's right there, right below me, and right next to Adam.
Yes.
So there you go. But here we go. Let's play some music. All right. welcome to the
That's
show.
a fun one to play right there.
Let me turn your mic on. Sorry, that is a fun one to play.
That's a fun one, yes.
Oh man. So we've done some. Well, we did one duo tour.
Right. Yeah.
Back in was it February?
It was second half of February, first half of March. I think it
Right.
spilled across the month line there.
Indeed, it did.
Something of that nature.
And we're doing a week. So coming up this month in June, well, it's about to be June. We're doing a festival. It's all trio shows with our buddy Joe McMahon, which will be a blast. Joe is my brother in arms, our brother in arms, dear friend. But yeah, we're doing a festival in Kentucky, and then we're going up to, coming back to New York.
Yeah.
Coming back to New York, going to play the Iridium Jazz Club on the 29th of June, and then we'll be at Peach Fest on Sunday,
Yes.
July 1st, which will be fun.
The second, I think, isn't it?
Is it the first or second? Whatever that
second,
Sunday
yeah.
is. Those who are going to Peach Fest, Tedeschi Trucks and our good friend Dwayne Betts and Johnny Stachel will be there that day, and should be a lot of fun. So, should be.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, let's do another tune that people message a lot about, and is a I see on the Spotify things like our weekly, like the songs that are streamed the most, Mortgage is the most,
Okay.
and has been for basically since it came out.
Okay.
And this is typically number 3, which is Barbara's Lair.
Ah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Which
excellent.
is this is a picture of Leo Nocentelli playing with the meters. That's George Porter over his right shoulder. This is at one of the earliest New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festivals. Leo is just a huge hero of mine, and I know Zigaboo is
Epically huge. Loved it.
is epic. There's not even no question. It's
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
one of the biggest influences on old Abershoff here. So we'll play this, and yeah, this is called the Barber's Lair, baby. All right. This really is like flying a
You got
plane.
lots going on there.
I'm trying. Hopefully everything's coming through great, because I'm trying. All right.
That is another joyful fun one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man! So before we move on to another tune, I want to talk about just some music I've been listening to lately. I've been really obsessed. There's 2 albums by this band. They're from, I believe they're from Morocco. But this band right here, Entran de Lear, is I believe how you say it. And this is their second record that just came out like maybe a year ago, and they're coming here. Me and Joe are going to go.
Awesome.
We've talked. You've heard these guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then they have their first album, which I think I sent you the other day on a text message to you and Joe or something like that. That is their other record I think is just called Number One, and it came out in 2018, and it's a live show. But anyway, it's really cool. It's hypnotic music, and I'm just really into it. So I definitely would check that out on streaming services. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'll get to later as we do some other songs. I'm sort of going through. I'm still sort of. I started going through like a Rudy Van Gelder phase. Rudy Van Gelder being the famous engineer, really. I mean, producer, yes, but more so engineer that came to prominence in the early 50s, mid 50s, really, and then worked well into the 70s and worked till he died. Just maybe 7 years ago, but most notably, like the pinnacle period of Blue Note Records in New York. Rudy was behind the console for some of the greatest records ever recorded, and in particular, Blue Note has reissued a lot of these titles under what they call the Tone Poet series. I've done a couple of posts about it on my socials, where they've gone back to the original tapes, and I've just never heard better recorded stuff in my life. Like there's a couple in particular, like the Introducing Kenny Burrell record in the Tone Poet series, which is Kenny Burrell's the greatest jazz guitar player ever. It's debatable, but one of the 5. How's that? One of the 7. His first album. I'm like sitting there drinking my coffee. Like I have a nice turntable and system in our house, and I'm just like sitting there, and it's like you literally feel like it's right in front of you. Like it's just I've never. It's truly breathtaking, and I'm not just saying that. So been in a huge phase of that, just listening to everything Rudy ever engineered or produced or both, and then been in a big Sonny Sherrick phase the last month or so. Sonny being the great avant-garde jazz guitar player in New York. He started playing with Pharoah Sanders first, and then made solo records well through the 70s and the 80s into the 90s, really. But just, and he replaced, he replaced McLaughlin he played on Jack Johnson with McLaughlin for Miles. Okay. It's Sonny Sherrick and McLaughlin, and if I'm not mistaken, Tommy Bolin's on that too.
Oh, is he?
I think.
Okay.
Is he or not? I can't remember. So don't quote me on that. But anyway, but Sonny just wild man, just a wild man. Very, very, very interesting. What have you been listening to? Anything in particular that you've been
listening to stand-up comedy?
You've been listening to stand-up.
I have not been listening.
What stand-up comedy?
I revisited Chappelle's entire body of work on Netflix, and it's brilliant. A bunch of Tom Segura stuff, Jim Gaffigan.
All the hits.
Yeah, all the hits.
All the hits. I can dig it.
Hey man, sometimes you need a break. You know what I mean?
I was listening to Ali Wong the other day.
She's fun. She's hilarious.
I love her.
She's really funny. Yeah.
Especially having a child and my wife being a mother, she really lets it go. Yeah. I love
really
it.
Funny dude.
And anything dark, I can't. I mean, what I watch to relax to go to sleep is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's like that's what
also
I watch
brilliant
to relax.
And hilarious.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. So anyway, we're gonna do a tune now that is also in our usual top 3 of the most
Cool.
of things that people stream. This is an old John Lee Hooker.
Oh, nice. All right.
Cool. An old John Lee Hooker song. And here's a picture I just love of him from back in the day. And I knew John a little bit. I did some shows right before he passed away. Met him, and I tell the story in the live show all the time. And I don't know.
It's really funny.
I don't feel inclined to tell it right now because I tell it so much. But essentially, he was just a dirty old man, and it's just amazing. He was a dirty man. I mean, amazing and very regal in lots of regards, but very much call HR. So, anyway, we'll do this. We'll do this for him, and also Earl Hooker, his cousin, who's a huge hero of mine. And people message me sometimes about that. I definitely, like, if you're into slide guitar. My way into playing slide guitar was to mimic Duane Allman, and then I sort of got to a point, and I can still do it, like especially when I do when I guest with members of the Allman family and stuff like that. Like I definitely it holds a very special place in my heart. But there was a certain point there where I just didn't. I kind of wanted to let go of it because there's so many people like out in the world like kind of doing that, and so then people like Ry Cooder and stuff like that come into the equation, as you would imagine, and then contemporary guys, Blake Mills being probably Blake is kind of like more than a guitarist though. He's a genius producer and sonic landscape. I mean, I just have a lot of the utmost respect for Blake as a music maker. And then I have friends like Ariel Posen and Joey Landreth that are incredible, that are also sort of in that wake of things, meaning like sort of stylistically, like it's all kind of connected in certain regards. But Earl Hooker, his slide playing in particular, like it just really grabbed a hold of me because one thing was he's always sort of in standard tuning, which immediately makes him unlike most other slide guitar players that are in open tunings, generally. So that immediately really gravitated towards me. And then just the way that he would phrase, he used chromatics like and that's just not something that slide players generally do. Well, first of all, it's harder.
Sounds cool.
But thank you. It's he's a little slurrier, and anyway, so it just Earl is has just been a huge influence, and pretty much everything that I do with slide is somewhat connected to his influence. That's sort of like the focal point. There's a lot of things in there, but that's a big one. And so and people ask me a lot, like what's a good way in? Two Bugs and a Roach, that album, which is hanging behind me over on the wall. That's a good way in. But just stream. Really anything you did, So anyway, we'll do this now. This is for John. never get out of this blue life. Never get out of this blue life. I can't sleep, I can't eat. I've been smoking cigarettes, yeah, drinking black coffee, but I never get out of this blue life. People try to tell me. People try to tell me. People try to tell me all the time. Yeah. I sit on the TV. I hear it on the radio now. But I just don't believe. I just don't believe. 'Cause I've been true to that degree. Drinking black coffee, black coffee. Drinking black coffee and smoking a cigarette. I just don't believe that I ever get out of this blues. I never good sounding hi-hats there.
Love them.
Some John Lee Hooker for you. Oh, fun times.
That one gets nasty sometimes. I like it.
I like it.
Yep.
You like it?
I do.
Sometimes you like it.
I do like that one.
I'm just kidding. I'm just being fun. Banter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Been
Good one.
watching too many Mets games. Been watching too many Mets games. Like even the announcers, which Keith Hernandez is one of the announcers for the Mets. And it's like when things are going wrong, it's like, yeah, look at that terrible play. It's just so New York. It's like they're your team.
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside. Oh gosh. Well, I hope everybody's doing great out there. I'm having a ball. I don't know about you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Having
Good
a
to be
love-
here. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've actually continued to do Greasy Time and at least do about one a month on Together.co, and I'll be back on Together.co next month. So if you're into it, there's me and a bunch of my friends. Let's see, David Grissom and Kirk Fletcher and Philip Sayce, and there's a whole bunch of people that are on the platform. So definitely, if you're into it, I do this at least once a month over there on Together.co. But it feels great to do it for y'all once again.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it's not required, but we would love it if you drop some things in the tip jug there.
Certainly would help. Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
The old digital chip jar.
Exactly.
Drop some ones and zeros.
Some 20 coming. 2020? What?
2020.
What?
Flashback to 2020.
Too much. Yeah, exactly. Strike that. Reverse it. All right, so we'll do a tune right here that this is Adam's favorite.
Oh, it's time.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do this. This is we'll do a song right here called "That's When You Know When You're Down," which is from the Mind Control album. And this one, I was right down here listening to Captain Beefheart. I don't remember what albums I was listening to now, but I listened to a couple. I was just down here, probably just like fixing something or whatever, and just was listening that night, and ended up writing this, and then it's been a staple of the live show, whether the trio show or the duo show, and it started out being relatively contained, and then it's sort of become it's sort of become the outlet for sort of outster playing. And you know, we have a shared love of all kinds of you know, especially saxophone players and trumpet players. You know, like whether it's Ornette Coleman or Miles or Coltrane or Wayne Shorter, and but as a guitar player, you know, I don't think there's a person I hold in higher regard than Bill Frisell. He's definitely a huge influence on me, not just musically either, like just his Zen existence.
Yeah, his vibe is really cool.
You know, like if
wisdom.
If I could,
seemingly,
if I could be more like Frisell in all ways, you know, like it would be a good thing. I mentioned Sonny Sherrick, who's a big influence on me, but also a guy that I talk about a lot is Mark Rebo. Who's a really big influence on me, and a lot of the people I'm getting to work with and the type of projects I get to be involved in that I'm lucky enough are sort of in somewhat sort of mimicking his sort of ideals in a way, and I just really sort of like Frisell, I sort of look at those guys as like the Yodas, if you will. They're just an inspiration and how to try and connect to the muse and be and to play something of value every minute that you're able to, which is a tall order. because inevitably, even with the best of intentions, we're all kind of full of bullshit to a certain extent, even at our best. So musically, trying to cut through that and try and be primal and try and be connected to something that is truly truly expressive, that isn't connected to grandstanding or ego or just fakeness or jiveness or something, like just trying to truly kind of channel the true emotion of the moment and not be afraid to, is something that these guys sort of exhibit to me.
Yeah.
And in the same way that Howlin' Wolf, or in the same way that what's a good example? Stanley Kubrick, or Dylan Thomas, or Ginsberg, or Kerouac, or Margaret Thatcher. No, I'm just kidding. No, you got to lighten the mood sometimes. Can't take, because the other side of it is not taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Because if you take everything too seriously, it just ends up being douchey. Like, it's just not. You have to have a semblance of humor in everything that you do, I think, because otherwise, because nothing is that dire. Right. The human condition is so fragile that it's just, you can't take. You have to take things inevitably with a grain of salt within context. I just turned.
I agree.
Turned into a lecture.
Very nice.
So.
Oh, that was good. Well spoken.
Musings of JD. Yes. Really, I just think, people need to get a good night's sleep more often, listen to more records, eat more avocado toast, drink more good coffee, smoke a cigar and watch baseball.
There you go.
All the things that bring me happiness. Meet the Mets.
So everybody must do it.
Everybody must do it. It works for me, so it surely will work for you.
Clearly.
All right. I'll leave it alone now. We'll get back to pontificating later. All right, so here you go. This is
my favorite song.
Yeah, absolutely.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With a heart
So fun.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. So good. Such a good time. I love playing with you, bud.
Very likewise. Likewise, sir. Many likewises. Agreed.
What's your favorite non-comedy movie?
My favorite non-comedy movie. I mean, it's probably Alien or Jaws. Probably Alien. I think Ridley Scott's a great director.
Yeah.
It's a work of art.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's one doesn't need to argue at all, really.
Original Blade Runner, director's cut, not the one with narration.
Oh, that's a good one. I feel like playing some Lightning Hopkins. Could you pick up your brushes?
I can do that. Don't even need a reason.
So I was yesterday. Yesterday I was in with Kirk Fletcher and Joe McMahon, just sort of buttoning up Kirk's new amazing old school traditional blues record that'll be out later this year, and we were screwing around, of course, like we did more screwing around than work, just because that's how it is, because we're friends. And when you work with your friends, you gotta at some point be like, all right, we'll get a little bit of work done, but why let work get in the way of a good time? And anyway, we're everybody has things when they get behind their instrument that they just naturally like. It's just what comes out because it's like at the top of their subconscious or something. And it's really interesting because you see, in a way, it's like a portal into the true nature of said musician.
That's a good observation. Yeah.
And it's always and people are so unaware of it because it's just something that's like it happens in a way that you're not even aware that you're doing it most of the time. So in a way, it's the purest form of seeing truly what's inside you. And
I like that.
And it's because you don't even realize that people are watching. But I find it interesting to watch this because like us and like normal mankind, it's like we have the us that we want people to think we are, and then there's the truth. And in a way, it's like how can we minimize the difference between those two?
Yes. In
a way that is still somewhat self-protective, because I don't feel like our true inner being should be on display for everyone. That it has to be earned, like through relationships, through trust, through mutual trust. So it's that sort of tightrope of like trying to get them close, but it's like you still have to hold certain things in private that are only meant for specific people, for specific situations, for self-preservation, and also for like the nature of harvesting really great relationships, I think. So, at any rate, backing out of the deepness tunnel that I've led us down yet again, it is interesting to see if you can somehow find out what that thing is about you, so you can either embrace it or be like, man, I gotta work on this.
Yeah.
If this is what I'm naturally going to, like, if your natural inclination is to like sit down and just vomit, it's like, well, then, all right, maybe you should work on that. Maybe you should try and find a way to sort of make your inner musical being more connected to spirit or something, and not something so spastic or manic, And for me personally, when I'm home, I naturally play Lightning Hopkins. Like, it's just what I do. My natural, when I pick an instrument up, is it's that dead thumb thing. Or, I mean, you're around me enough. You see me, So, so anyway, so I pose that challenge to you. Like, what is it that is like your internal? Because like we all have internal time, like the way that we feel time. I think we all have at least the beginning of a touch that is a thing that can be refined over time with work and intention. But yeah, that's sort of like your musical subconscious. Where does it go?
Yeah. Your first inkling.
What is your first inkling?
I mean, it's
what do you feel it is?
R&B, as always, James Brown or Afrobeat or
Definitely Afrobeat.
Definitely Afrobeat.
Left to your own devices.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely see you at sound checks and stuff, but I know that some of that is you trying to give the engineers what they need to be able to do what they do.
Yeah, I'm trying to
So
give
it's
them
different.
dynamics.
But like when you
I'm
sit
trying to
behind a drum kit to just get your hands warm or something,
yeah,
it's Fela Kuti or something.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which is quite lovely.
Well, thank you.
So, all right. I just got this guitar from the lovely people at Gibson. This is one of their new or newer LOO vintage series things, and it's actually really great. I've got some fragile acoustics, and this is just more solid. I'd feel better about it because some of those guitars from the 30s and even the 50s, they're just so thin that I'm really worried about,
structural integrity.
Well, yeah, because once they start cracking, man, you just start going down a weird rabbit hole. So anyway, but this is a wonderful guitar, and I've been using it. I've only had it about a week, and I've used it a lot. And this is actually a new sound hole pickup from Curtis Novak out in California. I've gone way down the rabbit hole of sound hole pickups, and I'm actually involved in a project that is very exciting that I can't talk about yet, but wink, wink, you could probably figure that one out. But this is really great, and it's sort of, Lightning Hopkins used de-arming sound hole pickups, which really just makes the acoustic guitar turn into like a 175 or a...
Sounds great, man. In here, sounds great in the room. Yeah.
So, all right, play a little bit of Lightning. That's not Lightning Hopkins at all. Patton and Hopkins.
I like brushes.
I like brushes too. So I'd like to do I'd like to do a tune by myself if that's okay.
Of course.
You can just hang out.
I'm just gonna hang out. It's too complicated to get out of here.
It's too complicated. This is another John Lee Hooker song. I just am in the mood. Not the song I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to play the song I'm about to play. And
what's the melody to In the Mood?
well, there's two in the moods. There's
the big band.
there's
song.
there's the big band song. I would play it if I wasn't trying to tune this thing to some pan-Egyptian tuning. And then there's a John Lee Hooker tune called I'm in the Mood. See?
See.
But this is a song that I heard, like a lot of people, because it's one of his most notable songs in his repertoire. But he recorded this song many times throughout the years, and there's a distinct difference. There's a distinct difference between them. The earliest one is sort of that thing, and then the second version that I heard is sort of more African, where it's an odd rhythm.
Yeah.
It's a very odd rhythm for one to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of an odd. It's what?
Yeah.
It's. So anyway, this is Boogie Chillin', and one of my favorites. And it's something I never get sick of hearing because it's just such a, again, like hypnotic music. Hypnotic music just really speaks to me, whether in any regard, any genre. And this is one of the OGs. I mean, from late 40s.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like blues in a way. It's just which is like the other style of John Lee Hooker, like things that had that sort of pulse, that quarter note pulse, whether it was one chord or 12 bar or a variant of 12 bar. But John Lee Hooker with that sort of one chord, like it's just like, what is this? Like, it's so unlike anything that was going on. Magic. Do this. Well, my mind allowed me, baby. She had to stay out all night long. Well, my mind allowed me, baby. She had to stay out all night long. Hey, Lord, I know. She would lay down, she would boogie woogie anyhow. When I first got to town, everybody talking about Henry's Swing Club. I decided I'd drop in there that night. And when I got there, I said, yes, people. The same. I know chillin'. One night I was laying down and I heard Papa and Mama talking. I heard Papa tell Mama, let that boy boogie woogie. It's in him and it got to come out. I say, yes, people. When I'm boogie woogieing just the same. There you go.
Nice.
John Lee.
That's a cool. That is a cool, cool kind of strumming pattern, and you know what I mean. It's not typical.
No, it isn't, and it's a bitch to try and sing over. Like again, like, you know, I feel like I marvel at things people do, and the truth of the matter is like, you know, especially more primal music, it's like they were just it was like the path of least resistance, like what came natural. And so it's like to think that someone like John could be doing something like that.
That's what came natural.
And
yeah,
is just like, how does that happen? You know, like what is
the same way about Zigaboo and Tony Williams, dude.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, hope everybody's having a good time out there. I sure am.
Absolutely.
We'll do some more and do a little bit more and then call it a night. It's just a blast, man. I'm having a great time.
It's been too long. It's fun. Yep.
It's been way too long.
Dig it.
So, so I want to talk about. I got an interesting bit of musical, like 2 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon kind of thing here. So, first and foremost, I want to do this next song. I was really fortunate to get to work on the Elvis movie for Baz Luhrmann, and do the guitars for it, which was a huge full circle moment for me. How I learned to play guitar was Elvis initially, Scotty Moore, James Burton, and so getting to play all that stuff was a huge thrill and just kind of really surreal to get to do it. But then all the other stuff that we did for the film, whether it was Sister Rosetta Thorpe or the Hank Snow stuff, or the sort of like music that ties the vignettes together. So like there's some stuff that like was needed to be sort of a la the Wrecking Crew in the 60s, and some stuff that needed to be sort of in the style of music from Beale Street in the 50s. So B.B. King, Crown era, early B.B., like non-vibrato B.B. King, which was important to make sure that that was like what the B.B. King stuff was, because the way B.B. King played in the 50s and the way he played in the 60s was very different from one another. And then, of course, the Big Mama Thornton stuff that was played by the dear Shanka, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. And so anyway, so I want to do a tune right here, Hound Dog. So here's the deal. The original version, so it was written by Lieber and Stoller. People think Big Mama Thornton wrote this song. No, it was written by 2 Caucasian guys in New York City. And Big Mama Thornton's version featured the great Johnny Otis's band. And the guitar player who played on the original version was an incredible, funky, low-down dude named Pete Guitar Lewis, and that's him on the right, okay? And What? What are you laughing at?
Here's what I'm laughing at. You're like, that's him on the right. It's like, well, clearly it's not the guy playing the saxophone.
I'm just trying to be
No,
polite.
this is hilarious.
I know. You're right. It's very Norm Macdonald.
It was really funny. Yeah.
It's very David Letterman of you. I'm too polite sometimes.
No, it's good. It's funny.
No.
Set up that joke perfectly.
It
Thank you
did.
again.
It did. Here's a picture of Big Mama Thornton back in the day. So Pete Lewis is the guitar player on the original version, which is really low down and funky, and you should listen to it if you haven't. So Johnny Otis, he's the band leader, and he did a lot of he fronted a lot of sessions on a lot of important R&B records back in the day. So who is Johnny Otis's dad?
Mr. Otis?
Shuggy Otis.
Shuggy Otis? What?
Yeah.
No way.
That's his dad.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love Shuggy.
I do too. Isn't that crazy though?
It is. Yeah.
Like that there's a connection
I had no idea.
to Hound Dog?
Yeah.
I didn't either. I knew, like, because I didn't put two and two together. Like, I knew that Shuggy Otis' dad was the famous band leader and all that, but it's just that thing until it like really dawns on you. Oh wow, wait, okay. And Johnny Otis fronted all these sessions on important records, and so there you go.
That is really cool.
There you go, buddy.
Thanks for cracking that egg of knowledge on us all.
I try. That's what Greasy time is for. So here's a little bit of the. that style so well. I love it.
It's fun.
I was like, it was just a few weeks ago. I was like, man, I'd like to do. I think I want to try this in the trio show. And one description later, and it's like, yep, there it is. That's what I want.
Thanks, man.
Well, I've had an absolute blast, and I hope you all have too. I hope you have.
I had a great time, buddy. Good to be back in the basement. Good to be playing my leadies. I haven't played them for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We should talk very, very quickly. I did say at one point we would talk some equipment or gear.
True.
So I shouldn't. So starting with you, yeah, you're playing your old leadies.
I'm playing the old
that
leadies.
live here in the House of Grease.
They live here in your basement, and it's a pretty standard, 60s jazz side. It's 8x12 rack, 16x16 floor, 14x20 kick. Very standard stuff. I think technically back then, the jazz setups would be a 14-inch floor tom, not the 16. But I actually kind of like the 12, 16, 20s. There's 4 inches between each drum diameter, which to me makes a lot of sense.
Because
tuning.
He's a Rogers freak, and he has
I love
two
Rogers kits.
amazing.
Same sizes. Actually,
they're all the same?
All 3 of my drum kits right now are all the same size drums. They're just different colors. Yeah, they're all 12, 16, 20. Well, one here, one in my basement, one in the case
for
ready to
touring.
go out the door. Yeah, it's like, well, there you go.
And then snare drum. Which snare?
Superphonic. This is
That's
the
the
Superphonic.
Superphonic. Okay.
One that lives here, late 60s. I don't know. I don't remember the exact year because my original one got stolen in Rome, as you remember.
Yeah.
Thanks, Italy. And my people.
Mine too.
Went to my home.
Mine too.
Went to where my family's
You're more
from.
so than me,
Went to
though.
where my family's from and got robbed. Thanks. So it's in old 60s, late 60s. And the cymbals are, okay, so I mean, whoever's watched this before, I've been using these 2 rides forever. The main ride on my right, your left, is the 24-inch Istanbul 30th anniversary ride. I love this ride. This is a 20-inch Avitas. It was one of the ones they kind of like, several years ago, they brought out a line, called them Avitas. They're kind of like a harkening back to the 60s stuff. And I actually really like this as a crash cymbal.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a great sound of crash. But it is cool. It's got a good bell on it. So sometimes I'll go there if there's patterns to be had. Yeah. And these are the new guys. Also, for those of you who have seen us in the last, I don't know, 7 years or 5 years, I've been using those giant 18-inch broken crash cymbals.
They were kind of your trademark, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But the cracks finally started expanding, and they're approaching being junk very soon. So, these are 16-inch Bosphorus Master Vintage hi-hats, and I just fell in love with these things.
Those are sick.
I was in one of the local Nashville drum shops here, playing a bunch of stuff.
Did you get those at Nelson's?
It was at Nelson's, yeah.
Nelson's drum shop, which is
Nelson's, and I mean, dude, Nelson's Forks. We got a lot of great, but it just so happened. I went everywhere though. I went all over the city, played everything, and I was in Nelson's, and man, I went out looking for, as you recall, those Istanbul or the Istanbul, like Agops or Agop signatures, and I knew I wanted 16s or 17s. I wasn't sure, and I kind of played them all, and they had a couple different, like 2 sets with like, different top and bottom weights. I did every combination of top and bottom. I was like, these are kind of cool, but anyway, I was like, well, I'm not fully in love with any of this. And then just as I was walking out, I saw these in the rack, and I was like, give those a little whirl. And it was one of those things, like, immediately, you know what I mean? I set them up, it was like, done, good,
Done.
Here we go, yeah. It was also a super Nashville day. Like, this guy came in trying out congas as I was in the room trying out cymbals, and we had, like, a drum and conga jam. He heard me play some sambas and stuff. And so, like...
You're cute.
Cymbal shopping became percussion jam afternoon. As these things happen in town. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Anyway,
well, groovy. Yeah, but there you go. And so that's Adam. And then for me, I mean, I've had this Danacaster for over a year now, and it's my favorite guitar. I just use it on everything, and it's just become... So I still have my 335, of course, but I'm just not as connected to it. I pick it up occasionally and try and use it on stuff, or bring it to sessions and stuff. And I just always end up playing this for the most part. This has just become my favorite, and it's this was Dan Danicaster. This was his personal guitar for a while, and he was gracious enough to let me buy it from him. And it's got an old. This is from a 60. Oh gosh, I don't know, 62 or 63 355. This is actually gold, but it's like worn down. So it was in a 355. This neck pickup, which is a little closer to the bridge. People again ask me a lot about that, and it's just where he put it, and it's a magical spot. It's a perfect spot for that to go. The in-between position is sick. It sounds like Cornell Dupree. And then this is a 56 bridge pickup, and these are old pots. And yeah, I just love this guitar. And then other than that, like I played on the John Lee Hooker song, this is my old Jazzmaster that was refinned by my friend George Bradfeet here, and then my buddy Wade Coffer, who works at Carter Vintage, wound this old gold foil, and then it looks like a mini humbucker, but it's actually a lap steel pickup that's like in that's in a mini humbucker case or whatever. And so this I have tuned down to B, which I always say is like my Pop Staples guitar, and I use that a lot. And then you just saw my ES5. This is from '52, and it's got flat wounds on it, and I use this a lot. Like these three guitars are kind of the only ones I use, and they're all vastly different from one another. But for everything that I work on and play on, it just seems to work for me. And then amp-wise, it's behind me, but I've got two Headstrong. Wayne Headstrong is in North Carolina, and he's become a really good friend. And I've used his two Little King reverbs, which are essentially Princeton's with 12-inch speakers in them, for the better part of 7 months, I think, at this point. And I have no intention on changing. I'm just so happy.
Awesome, yeah.
I'm just so happy and pleased, and it's, Adam isn't particularly a loud drummer, so it's like it just makes everything so balanced, and I use him on basically everything I play on session-wise.
It's definitely the best in the room and on stage balance we've ever had, in a decade plus or whatever, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. So
love it.
I'm just very pleased. I love the way he tunes stuff. It's just really suits me and the way that I play. I love him as a person. So I'm playing through one of them right now. I've got two of them, and they're both fantastic. They're slightly different from one another, but not drastic. And then I have my old Alamo amp, which is from '49, and it's just like a little 8-watt, but I record with it all the time. I use it on everything. And then pedal-wise, I've made some changes. Just recently, I got, this is a shot of what I'm playing through tonight. I finally got a board from my buddy Ryan and cleaned it up a little bit because it was kind of a mess. And but the Kogoi fuzz, which is the first thing I'm going into, which I haven't used yet. I'll use on this next song, this last song we're gonna play. But that is absolutely phenomenal, and it's my favorite fuzz. I love it. I've used it for my buddy Robbie Crowell turned me onto it, and John Kogoi. He's only on Instagram, so if you want one of these, you gotta find him on Instagram. And it's getting more difficult slightly, so you should get one before they're $1,200 or something.
And there's a back order for 3 months.
Yeah. And then I'm really good friends with Emmanuel and Ilias from Jam Pedals in Greece. I actually bought the wah-wah, which is fantastic. It sort of solved my problems of using old wah-wah pedals. And that led to a great relationship now, where I've got a bunch of their stuff, but the things that I use the wah all the time that they make, and then the Delay Llama Extreme, which is my delay pedal.
Delay Llama. What
Yeah.
a great name.
Isn't that amazing?
That is
And
hilarious. I love it.
It's fantastic. It's my favorite because it like sort of.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. So I use that, and I love that, and I've been using that the whole show. And then I've got this thing called the Ripley Fall, which is a chorus vibrato and a phaser pedal, and I like using the vibrato setting the most, and then the Electro Harmonix Freeze, of course, my reverb tremolo switch for my amp, and then the Klon thing. So this is not a real one. We have a friend of ours who he's a stand-up comedian who works at Vanderbilt. He's the neighbor of one of our dear friends, and he's a total pedal nerd, and he has collected all the NOS parts necessary to make Klons from the 90s.
Wow.
Even the LEDs and the switch and the pots and it's kind of crazy, and it's been like just a thing he's done for his own entertainment, and so he's made me 2 of them, which I love, and Mac Mahan was the one who introduced me to him, and so there's a couple of friends of mine who've gotten them, and it's completely indecipherable from a real one. I've heard them side by side, and for me personally, not everybody. Here's the thing about like overdrive pedals, in particular, is first of all, I only use it when I'm playing slide quiet, which is weird because it's like, why are you using an overdrive pedal? I use it like as if it were a compressor, I suppose, but I don't like compressors. So it's like I use it only a little bit of the time, and it's like not anything that is that drastic. It's more of like how it feels. And I'm barely using it. Like the gain is at 10 o'clock. It's barely doing anything. But yeah, it's great. So no, it is not real. People have asked me. No, I do not have an $8,000 overdrive on my board. Yes, the me of another time period might have, but I am a different man than I once was. I'm a little older. I'm a little wiser. No, but it's fun. So anyway, that's the rundown of all that stuff. And then I use blue chip picks. I love these. I've used these for the last year plus. These bluegrass picks that never wear out. I use them for months and months and months and months. And then...
Yeah, that's amazing that they last that long.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I feel bad, though, because people ask for my pick all the time, and I'm like, I can't
No.
I can't give you my pick. I'm sorry. I'm using this for at least another 3 months.
Yeah.
But anyway, that. And then Rock Slide. I've used this same slide for a couple of years now. I've got a backup or 2. I might have 2 backups, but love this. He's in Spokane, Washington. And Stringjoy strings. I use the pure nickel old school ones, the Broadways. Turned a lot of people onto them, and they're fantastic. So, all right, enough of that. We will leave you.
What do you want to play?
What do you think I want to play?
Oh, Go Away Satan?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
great.
Oh.
Another one of my Afrobeat creations.
Indeed.
How fun.
So we'll leave you with this. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great, for those of you here in America, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday tomorrow and stay safe, and hope to see you guys out at some of the shows. I mean, like I said, we'll be in New York on the 29th of June at the Iridium, so anybody on the East Coast or in New York or in the boroughs, come on out. We'll be at Peach Fest, and then there's a festival in Georgia coming up in the first week of August, and then there's a string of duo shows in August, and then there's a really cool festival that we're about to announce in September, and there's some other sporadic shows in September, and then it looks like we're going to be coming back to the West Coast October, November, which will be fun. And also, if you're in the 615, our side project, Superfelon, is starting the first Tuesday of the month residency at the Analog at the Hutton Hotel, which is myself and Adam and Patrick Sweeney, Ted Pecchio, and Robbie Crowell, and we play like Meters and Isaac Hayes and Lee Dorsey, and Professor Longhair, and it's a really fun. So we're going to start doing that regularly the first Tuesday of the month at Analog, and then I'm actually
starts in July, right?
Starts in July, correct.
Yeah.
And then starting next week, the first Monday in June. We haven't actually announced it yet, but we're going to announce it, I think, tomorrow. Myself and Kirk Fletcher are going to start doing Mondays at the East Side Bowl playing old school blues with a host of friends. Adam will be on some of it.
I will be at the first two.
Adam Bednarik, our friend, will be playing some of it. Jason Smay will be playing some of it. The great Ron Oaf will be playing some of it. Brian Owings is playing some.
Boy, what a bunch of lousy players you guys got lined up.
It's kind of crazy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So those are going to be Mondays, 8:30 to 10:30, playing blues when we're all home. And then obviously when we're not home, we'll be subbing out with other amazing players like Austin John and Andrew White and Joe McMahon. And, it's really fertile times here in the Nashville area right now. It's kind of amazing. So, without further ado, I love you, buddy. Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, man. As always.
I hope you all had a wonderful time. We'll leave you with this. And again, hit that tip jug if you feel so inclined. Thank you very much. I hope you had a great time, and hope to see you soon. I'm JD Simo, Adam Abershoff. Keep it greasy, all right? Go for it, buddy.
Here we go.
Good night. Keep it greasy.